Our December 2nd, 2025 Board of Commissioners meeting. Our first order of business will please stand and join me for the pledge if you are able.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Agenda review, Bob.
Mr. Chair, there are no changes to the agenda today.
Move to approve. Second.
Got a motion and a second for the agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. County Ditch 28, appoint some engineer. Morning, Craig.
Morning.
Morning, Greg.
Today we have a petition for a partial abandonment for County Ditch 28, Branch 9. The Blue Earth County Ditch 28 watershed is approximately 3,900 acres in size and is primarily located in Lincoln Township. A petition for partial abandonment, Minnesota Statute 103E.806, dated October 9th, 2025, was received on October 14th, 2025. Attorney Cale R. Van Buren of Rinke Noonan reviewed the petition and found it to be adequate. At today's meeting, the Blue Earth County Drainage Authority, we are requesting an order to appoint Charles J. Brandel of ISG to prepare an engineer's review report for the proposed petition for partial abandonment affecting portions of County Ditch 28, Branch 9.
So moved.
Thank you, Craig.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Pretty straightforward. No discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Craig.
Thanks.
Looks like item number 4, River Valley Drug Task Force Grant and Joint Powers Agreement. Morning, Sheriff.
Good morning.
Hi, Sheriff.
Good to see you.
So this morning I have the Minnesota River Valley Drug Task Force VSET grant, which is usually funds for 2 years. The task force was awarded $374,000 for 26 and 27, which is about a 4 or 5% decrease. And the reason is because there's less money and there's more task forces in the state this year compared to years past. They rely on it from a large part of their operating budget, and so I recommend approval of that. And with that, with the grant update, every time you get a new grant with them, you have to update your JPA with signatures. I checked with Chad, and he made some grammatical and punctual error or corrections in the JPA. Otherwise, the language is the same.
All right, and you want to do them both at the same time, Sheriff, or you want 2 separate motions?
I might recommend separate.
2 separates. Okay. All right, this time I would look for a motion for the Drug Task Force Grant exception.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries, and the Joint Powers Agreement is attached, and as the Sheriff already said, there's just some minor cleanup, no major changes to the agreement, so I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the Joint Powers Agreement. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Good seeing you. Blue Earth County River Watershed Comprehensive Water Plan. Good morning, Scott.
Morning, Scott.
Changing it up on us a little bit this morning, huh?
A little bit, yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah, Scott Salisbury, Property Environmental Resources. We have the Blue Earth River Watershed Plan, and that's a 10-year plan, and that will be it's our second to the last watershed plan. We still have the Minnesota River Mankato watershed that will be probably coming here in January. This planning process was started in 2023, and it involved the counties and SWCDs for, of course, Blue Earth County, Faribault, Freeborn, Jackson, and Martin County, as well as the city of Fairmont. Cottonwood County and Whatland County just has small parts of the watershed and opted out of that. The public input process for the watershed plan, which I guess I said is a 10-year plan, was held in Fairmont in 2024, and we had an online survey, and then the plan development process was really in 2024 and 2025. And the plan includes high priority resources, including erosion and sedimentation, which would be more upland agricultural areas in the upper portions of the watershed, erosion, both stream and ravine erosion, nutrient loading, soil health, altered hydrology, and flood damage reduction, wetlands and maintenance and repair of drainage systems, as well as protection of the surface water, drinking water resources for the city of Mankato and the city of Fairmont, which are both surface water influenced drinking water sources. We had a public hearing on the plan on November 17th down in the city of Blue Earth with the policy committee. There was no comments made by the public, and after the public hearing was closed, the policy committee recommended approval of the plan contingent upon one wording change in the plan related to increased precipitation and temperatures and their potential impacts to crop yields, which is in the climate section of the plan. The final step of the planning process is for each local board to pass a resolution to forward the plan to Bowser for review and adopt the plan contingent upon Bowser review and approval. And in the past, we had resolutions just separated, so we'd do a resolution to forward it to Bowser for review, and then in a few months, then we'd have a resolution to adopt the plan. They've kind of streamlined the process now, and there's really oftentimes not any changes at Bowser that are related to the plan, so it's just one resolution today to both forward the plan for review to Bowser and then adopt the plan contingent upon Bowser review.
Perfect. Any questions for Scott? I'd entertain a
Okay,
motion.
I would move that.
I will second.
Got a motion and a second for the comprehensive water plan adoption. Kevin, you have anything to add? I know you worked really hard on this with all your river
Well, we only had
committees.
16 meetings, starting in November 29th of 2023. I think the main thing I would say is, when you hear there was no public comment at the public hearing, you know, think about it a little bit like our ditches and things like that, where there were multiple opportunities and reviews and things like that. The public hearing is kind of that last step, so a lot of input in between there, and it goes to all the agencies, they review, that comes back. I want to certainly publicly thank Scott and our whole team. You know, a lot of people have a watershed in their county and they work on that. We've got 3 that are up and running and 2 that were just about, you know, honestly, I think we'll do about the same thing, like you mentioned, Scott, with the Minnesota River maybe in January, so that's just behind us. So I certainly thank staff perspective as we're doing this on multi-tracks at the same time. But this is good. It's a little bit different than some of our previous because we've had more city involvement. So before, it's been typically the counties as well as the county SWCDs. But as we see in this case, the city of Fairmont, we'll see in the next one, city of Mankato, North Mankato, St. Peter, Lake Crystal, they'll be involved. But I think put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this, and they just, like has already been mentioned, instead of doing it twice, if Bowser has no problems with it, which in my opinion they better not, because they've looked at it for 90 days and had 4 pages of comments on it that we've reviewed and things like that, it'll be adopted. So I would urge approval of this resolution.
Perfect. Well, thank you for all your hard work on that, Kevin, because I know you, I sit as the alternative on a lot of them, so I get all the invitations you get, and there's a lot. And add that to our ditch stuff, it gets to be busy. So, and Scott, you and your staff, thanks again. I'll echo what Kevin said. So, all right, any other discussion? I have a motion and a second. Okay, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. Thanks, Scott. Good
Thank you,
seeing you.
Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
All right, our next item is Public Works. Good morning, Ryan.
Good morning, Ryan.
Relatively light agenda this morning, so we'll keep it pretty brief. Have one action item. It's consideration of final payment for State Aid Project 007-611-015 and others. This is our 2025 bituminous overlays on county roads 11, 13, and 39. The contract was with OMG Midwest, Minnesota Paving and Materials. Original contract amount $1,809,716.76. The final contract payment amount is $18,411.05 for a total final contract payment of $1,841,105.37. I would recommend approval of this final contract payment.
I'll move it. Second.
Got a motion and a second for the final contract. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
All right. We'll move on into our information items, so please ask questions as we go if you'd like. For some brief project updates, I know we're going to get into these during our work session in more detail, but County Road 10 from the west line to 20, paving between 32 and 20 was completed prior to the snow event. The west county line to CSAH 32 is a gravel base. The turf establishment is partially completed. The contractor is going to be out there later this week when it warms up to finish at least stabilizing the areas that weren't permanent seeded for the winter and spring. And then the road has been reopened to traffic for the winter. So again, that western segment carries a relatively low traffic volume, and that's left as a gravel base throughout the winter until next year, so we'll have to maintain that. The 26 bridge replacement project just south of Industrial Road, which is a large culvert, it's a box culvert. An agreement has been reached with the landowner that we had initially filed for eminent domain on for the easement acquisition, so we'll be able to not have to pursue that any farther. We're anticipating bidding it in the coming months, and construction would be in spring or early summer of 2026. County Road 40, the R&E Enterprises started the slope repair project. They constructed the access road down to the river bottom, and were able to place riprap down at the toe of the slope. That'll be kind of the buttress or the base of the slope. So that's placed. Obviously now we've had more of a hard freeze and the weather that we've had and some wet soils. So I think work is likely going to be suspended for the rest of the season outside of, again, going in and doing some likely blanketing and other work just to ensure that we're not having erosion and sediment issues in the spring. County Road 5 from Riverfront Drive to Summit Avenue, Bolton Mink had to revise the box culvert detail where the replacement box culvert under our road, which I think is 8 or 10 foot wide, connects to a large arch pipe that is owned by the city that runs much farther to the east. There was some I think we talked about that last month, some misrepresentation of different data sets between the city GIS and as-built plans that were discovered later. So we're anticipating those plans will be submitted to MnDOT this month for final approval, and we'll also begin right-of-way acquisition this month once we get that final set of plans in hand. And most of that right-of-way is construction easements, temporary and permanent. And then in City of St. Clair on 15 and 28, 28 to the north is complete except for the final wearing course. Work has been suspended for the year. Work on 15 will pick back up next spring. We would anticipate that happening right away as soon as they can start digging. And then last but not least, our County Road 69 reconstruction project that's under design. We had hired Bolton and Mink to assist us with the storm sewer design, given their familiarity with some of the drainage issues in that region and the complexity of it, and that's common for us to farm that out. So that's wrapped up. We're incorporating that into the final plans, and that'll be submitted to the state likely in January, and we'll also begin right-of-way acquisition for that project then. So that's our construction project and programming projects updates. Any questions on those?
Any questions? Nope.
No? Okay. Maintenance activity updates. Obviously, over the weekend we were plowing about 12 hours on Saturday, and they were called in about 5:30, and I think they were done by about 3:30 on Sunday. So long weekend for our staff, but I greatly appreciate their dedication and the good work they do. We finished mowing shoulders and back cuts prior to the winter weather. Driveway installations were underway, ditch cleaning and back sloping, blading out gravel roads prior to the winter freeze up, moving stockpiles to the new shop, and continuing our packing efforts, getting ready for the move, eventual move. Finished patching bituminous areas and completed some shouldering. So with that, last but not least, I do have a Rapid End Dam and bridge update memorandum included in the board packet. I can just hit on some highlights on the County Road 9 bridge. On October 30th, I spoke with MnDOT State Aid regarding Section 4F and 6F documentation of the status of the county park. This is going to be one item that's going to be fairly particular with respect to how those parklands and the funding that was used to acquire them will trigger this designation. TKDA has a much firmer grasp on this subject matter than I do, so they're working through navigating this process. We talked about that further on November 4th in a meeting with them. as well as November 6th, where we met with MnDOT Cultural Resource Unit involving all of those environmental clearances that are necessary for the bridge replacement. So it was good to have FHWA on the line and MnDOT's Cultural Resource Unit that does the assessment on behalf of the Federal Highway Administration. We did discuss the intent of the future park, and that Barr Engineering will has contract has a public outreach component. That once we get to a point where we kind of know what the dam removal project looks like and hopefully have a better grasp of timeline, we had thought that it would be necessary to include some public outreach to determine what does that future park look like, what is the public requesting, what would they like versus how does it fit within the footprint we have and the amenities that may be available there. So we'll have that to be discussed further. Additionally, the thing to note, TKDA is ramping up their plan production pretty heavily. Things are kind of starting to really come together. So we're going to see bigger invoices back from them for the billing because they're bringing a lot more staff on to start doing more of the detail plan sheet production. So that's a good turn to be making, that we've got the confidence in our design, and we've got MnDOT FHWA on board with our approach and our foundations and our design, and things are coming together fairly well, and they remain even growing in confidence that we'll be able to meet our deadline, obviously pending all of the cultural resource and environmental clearances being met. A lot of just detail things that are included in here. I don't know that I need to bore you with them right now, but if you have any questions on them, please let me know. I did touch a little bit on the categorization that they intend to use with respect to the water trail and the parklands with the 4F status. And because we're not using the park right now, obviously because we have no access point, that may help in our case a little bit because the park is unusable. So we do have a project open house meeting scheduled for the bridge, Tuesday, January 6th, hopefully at the new Public Works facility. That's where the invite, I believe, was going to be sent out to. So if not, we'll pivot and we'll have it at our existing place. With respect to the dam, October 30th, Barr provided a memorandum to the Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Management on behalf of the county, which documented the dam removal project status at the request of my department and emergency management. So that was very helpful that they provided that. On November 5th, we met with FEMA to discuss the dam funding. We've completed the detailed damage process, and now we're going into scoping what the theoretical repairs are. Typically, FEMA scopes a cost estimate from the different projects. So we had 3 different projects. They're going to put them all together because they're also interdependent on each other. That'll be just one large project scope. We reiterated that the 2019 grant was never completed and that some of those work items have to be addressed in the 2024 grant, so we'll see how that goes. We talked about the architectural historian review that we had already completed. That was very helpful for them. References to contaminated sediment, again, recent testing that we did with the studies in 2019, 2020, did not show classification of it as contaminated soil. They showed it as agriculturally impacted, again, just due to the runoff that's in the rivers. This project will require a large project notification review for Congress. The county will know the anticipated costs and funding when the report leaves for the review. Our goal is, again, collaboration. We have regular meetings with Barr Engineering talking about project status items. We had one of those on November 6th. On November 10th, we participated in a meeting with the FERC, DNR, MPCA, and Barr Engineering regarding the NEPA document development. And the SHPO is questioning a few items. The FERC was surprised by that, but they're going to be doing some coordination with SHPO. So they need some final information from us, including the project work area limits. On November 17th, we participated in a meeting with FEMA. They had been reviewing the documents since our previous meeting. Repair and access are impossible or not practical unless the private parcel is acquired or the easement is obtained. This is a big sticking point between us and FEMA because their initial approach to this was that, well, we'll just scope the cost of putting something back there, and that's the county's cost if they want to do it. And we've been arguing that that's not a feasible project. That's not a realistic project. You can't do that. And so we even had different people in FEMA taking different points of view. So they're supposed to take it back and powwow, circle back and reply to us in our next upcoming meeting on kind of what the directive is from FEMA's regional management. This was more of the staff engineer that was taking that approach, that was doing the cost scoping. So we pushed back on that fairly hard, and one of the other FEMA folks on the call did tend to agree with us that that's not realistic. They can't give us a non-constructible project scope without doing something with that private property that lies in the middle. Discussion about how would channel water. Bar's going to be taking a closer look at that, putting together kind of a staging plan. And last, on November 20th, we had another meeting with Bar, again emphasizing the need to provide those final limits to the FERC for the NEPA documents. And they're going to be coordinating the hydraulic information with TKDA. That has been since sent, and it's also been sent to the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources for their review as well. So that's very helpful to get it out into their hands ahead of time so that they can review it prior to our meetings and have meaningful discussion. They've also been coordinating the grading work that's taking place between the bridge replacement project that TKDA is designing and the grading work that will have to happen with Bar Engineering to ensure that the two should integrate fairly well. So that concludes my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments? A lot going on, yeah.
Just a process.
Yeah, it's been, for being supposed to be our slow time of year, there's really no such thing anymore. It's very busy.
Working on the bridge and the dam all year round, so.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Ryan. We'll see you in a little bit. All right, that concludes the Public Works report. We'll move on to item number 7, County Attorney, Patrick. Morning, Pat.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, if you have any questions about the report, let me know. A couple of things that I would just, items in information for you. The truancy program is running strong. Let's just put it that way. Relations pretty busy. Our office is pretty busy. It's a good thing in the great scheme of things. And then something else, just from a technology standpoint, you know, since the 60s, technology has typically doubled every 18 to 24 months. And so trying to keep up with that, you know, we see cameras more and more all the time. I just assume anytime I go out in public that I'm on camera somewhere. So, and a good example of that is in one of our more recent larger cases. In one day, we received 207 audio and video files. That's no photographs, that's just audio and video files that somebody has to go through, and we were working with IT, the Sheriff's Office in particular, on some of the workflow things, because hopefully this will be corrected in the near future, and thanks, Bob, for approving that API. We'll be able to download directly instead of downloading to the network of the county and then uploading back into our system. And some of these documents can literally take hours to download and upload. Sure. So, and it's just, yeah, technology is great, but somebody's got to go through all that fun stuff. And I just, I'm glad that we're working together and IT's helping out and all that fun stuff, because it can be very time consuming, and it's getting to be more and more all the time. And most cases, you know, even speeding tickets now are on video and everything. So any questions, concerns, or comments, please let me know.
Thanks, Pat.
Any questions, Pat? Thank you, Pat.
Thanks, Pat.
All right, with that, it brings us down to some admin stuff. Bob?
Well, Mr. Chair and Commissioners, the first item is County Board minutes for November 18th.
Move to approve. Second.
Got a motion and a second for the minutes. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Next are the bills for the 2 weeks indicated.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the bills. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 8 in your packet is the Human Resources Department agenda. We have one action item for the board's consideration today, and so I'll ask Director Elva Bach to come and present the Minnesota paid leave policy.
Good morning, Laura.
Hey, Lauren.
Morning, Laura.
Morning, Laura.
All right, well, as you all are aware, beginning in 2026, Minnesota will require all employers, including counties, to provide paid family and medical leave under the new Minnesota paid leave law. Blue Earth County will participate in the state plan. The county employers are able to choose whether they want to be in a state plan or an equivalent plan. We have decided to go with the state plan. And so the state, not the county, will handle all of the eligibility decisions, benefit calculations, and claims administration. And so what this program does is it provides that eligible employees may receive a percentage of their wage for up to 12 weeks of medical leave for their own serious health condition and 12 weeks of family leave for bonding, caregiving, military needs, or safety-related reasons, with a combined maximum of 20 weeks per year. While most of the program administration is outlined in the statute and the state rules, employers have an opportunity to personalize some of the parameters, and so that's what this policy is doing, is taking some of the state information and then those areas where employers do need to or should clarify, and we're clarifying them. And so outlined in the policy, the Blue Earth County will allow employees to use the intermittent leave up to the 480 hours. After that, any leave taken must be taken continuously. And we also have determined that we will allow employees to supplement the state benefits with their accrued county leave so that they can maintain their normal income level. And then the other big piece of the policy is that it outlines the notification process to the employer, which is a critical step in the employee's application process. County will maintain health insurance during the leave and ensure that employees are reinstated. The policy also includes some anti-retaliation protections. Today, I am requesting the board's approval of the policy so that we can comply with the law and ensure a clear, consistent process for our employees as we prepare for the implementation.
I move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the policy. Is there any discussion, questions, or comments?
Thank you. It looks good.
We worked a lot on this on work sessions already, and we took a lot of time in discussing. I don't know if everybody approves of this thing, but it was given to us by the state of Minnesota. And like anything, we have to do what the state says sometimes, so. Thanks for all your work on it.
Thank you.
So just a point of clarification for me, the state's gonna handle all of it, so your point about notifying us, they wouldn't even start with us, they would just do it right through the state, then the state will notify us?
No, that is a requirement the law did
That-
get changed from what was previously, which was
Okay.
first introduced and passed. There was not the notification process. There was a change in, I believe, the last legislative session in which they did add that provision that employees have to notify their employer
Okay.
if they're going to be going out. That's going to be part of the application process. They're
Okay.
going to have to they're going to have to mark that they've done that, and then the state will be verifying with employers
all right.
that we've been notified.
So we still we're part of the starting process.
We're part of the
at least.
starting
Okay,
point,
well, that's
correct.
very helpful.
Yes.
Because I was a little confused by that. I thought that's the way it was, but thank you for that
Yes.
clarification. Appreciate it. All right, other questions or comments on it? I have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Laura, for all your
Yes,
work.
thank you.
Under informational items then, we have a number of items to run through here. We have a promotion of a maintenance technician 1 to a maintenance technician 2 in our Public Works Department, which also resulted in a change in employment status for a temporary maintenance technician 1 to a more permanent full-time maintenance technician 1. We also filled a library clerk, an on-call position, part-time position in the library. We've also initiated recruitment for a on-call library clerk in the library. And then we received a resignation of a land use specialist in our permitting area in our Property and Environmental Resources Department. And then we've initiated recruitment for a clerical specialist too in our children's services area within human services. And so be happy to answer any questions the board might have on any of those items.
Any questions? No. Thank you, Bob.
Item number 9 in your packet is a memo regarding tobacco license renewals. We're recommending renewal of the tobacco licenses for the businesses listed on the memo. All the applicants have completed the required paperwork and submitted the license fee. And so you'll see the list of businesses there recommending approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the tobacco licenses. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 10 in the packet then is a memo regarding renewal of the following on-sale intoxicating liquor licenses effective for calendar year 26. You'll see the businesses listed there in the memo, and so these applications have been reviewed by the county attorney and sheriff, and all the applications have been reviewed and signed, so we're recommending approval by the county board today.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries for the liquor license. Anything else for the good of the order, Bob?
That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
All right, we will move on to some committee reports from our commissioners. Kevin, I'll start with you today.
All right, since our November 18th board meeting, I attended the work session after that, and then that afternoon we had 3 ditch hearings, joint judicial ditch 16, JD 49 and JD 24. On November 19th through 20th, I participated in the NACO Rural Action Caucus event. On the 20th, attended the Salvation Army Soup Social. And then on November 24th, we had a Renewable Minnesota Energy Board meeting. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner. Patty?
I don't know how I always forget we have to give these reports. I too attended the work session and the NACO regional call I attended. And then on the 19th, I had community ed. On the 20th, I had no, I didn't. Advanced covered that for me. I attended a past employee's funeral on Friday. And what's the date today?
Second.
Okay, my calendar's
Already.
all messed up. So it looks like I missed a meeting. I apologize. I just wasn't ready for this today. And that's about it.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner. Vance?
Sure. On the 18th, I also attended the work session. That evening, I went to the Key City Lions, or Key City Kennel, and our own Adam Suckow and his canine put on a demonstration for him. And we need to be really, really happy with our canine officers. He was absolutely, amazing talking to these people. Most of them were my age, and him and his dog performed just amazing.
Give some
So
credit. Yeah, some credit to the
there's a
dogs.
thumbs up I can be given to that, and I think we need to be proud with our canine units that we have. The next day I went to a Greater Mankato Diversity Hindsight meeting at the University of Minnesota Mankato, and they had their, like I said, 20 years. I was one of their first facilitators on the Diversity Council. Then last week, we had a special detox board meeting that it was a Zoom, and then I attended the MSU County and City Future State discussion along with Patty.
Thank you.
And let's see, yesterday I had a NACO Arts and Culture Commission Zoom. In that afternoon, I had a Transportation Alliance Board of Directors Zoom meeting. And that's it. Thank you
All right.
very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mark?
Okay, and on November 18th, the work session after a board meeting. And then we had a joint drainage in the afternoon with Faribault and Martin counties. So we went ahead there. And the 19th, had a joint general government and environmental annual conference call. And then I did attend with I was kind of connected with Partners for Housing and all the groups at Salvation Army and everything for the homeless awareness event that was on the 20th. That concludes my report.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. Most of the stuff was already mentioned that I was at, but the work session, the ditch meetings, the joint ditch meetings, a couple meetings that weren't mentioned, my ECB and my EMS committees, I both had those on Thursday, whatever the Thursday was, but they're both going very well. We got Mark and his EMS team coming on the EC board and helping us with our administrative minutes, whatnot, agendas. But now we have asked if it's okay with the state, if he can apply for grants on our behalf for the ECB. So we had discussion at the ECB board to go ahead and bring it to the EMS board to see if Mark can chase that. We got approval from both boards, and now we just have to find out if the state will let him handle it. As you all recall, I've reported on this more than once, that Blue Earth County used to handle the grants, but because of the auditing issues and the liabilities for the nine counties, it was in our best interest to get out of that portion. We couldn't find anybody to take that on. We've been going back and forth with the state. Eric Weller has worked extremely hard trying to get them to allow these grants to come to each individual county. They have not been forthcoming in that. They say, nope, they're only going to give them to regions. And so we can't find anybody to accept the grant. We've been not in those grant cycles. It's not a lot of money, especially for us, and that was our reasoning for dropping out of it, was because the staff time and energy we put in it trying to get our little bit of money really didn't balance out. But unfortunately for the smaller counties in this region, that money is very helpful. So we've got the approval from our two boards. We will have to have a very nice ask to the state and hope they'll allow EMS and that Joint Powers Board accept the grant on behalf of the ECB. So stay tuned. We'll see what happens. I'm hoping it'll go down, but our track record with them trying to deviate from what they've been doing has not been very well. So we're hopeful. And then I had a couple ditch meetings, a couple other discussions with people with their property taxes and their property tax statements out, and then a informational meeting on JD 83, which went very well. So with that, that concludes my report. If there's no other business, I would entertain a motion to recess till tonight.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We are recessed. 9.